these locomotives, we're talking about my top 10 favourite locomotives, the best 10 locomotives of 2020. Not 2020, we haven't had that yet, 2019. Now the thing about this is, these are locomotives that I've either reviewed or that I have bought within the period of 2019. That doesn't necessarily mean that they came out in 2019 if they were old stock, or even in the case of at least one of these I bought second hand. But without further ado, it was the year of the Terrier, the Rails Dapol Terrier. I got a really, really good exclusive of comparing that to the Hornby one. And here actually is a Hornby one. I'm still waiting on the Rails Dapol Terrier. It hasn't, as far as I'm aware, come out yet. And believe me, I've been checking in on that. So for now, I'm really, really pleased with my Hornby Terrier. So I'm going to hold that up nice and close. This is in South Eastern and Chatham Railway livery, and it is actually a really good model. I always say to people, there's nothing wrong with the Hornby model. It's not like all or nothing. The new Hornby model is a good model. It's just a case that the Rails Dapol one is pretty much perfect. But I'm still waiting for it, and in the absence of the Rails Dapol Terrier being on the market, this is the next best thing, and it is a really great model. The next one up was the Saint Class. I believe it's Saint Class, and I got this fairly early on this year. And this is Night of St. Patrick, and I'm not even sure when this originally came out. It's not that old, but I've actually bought this second hand from Arcadia Models. Now I did a full box opening and review of this, and I actually sound fitted it as well. I fitted it with a Castle Class Hornby TTS sound chip. It was actually really easy to do, but I do really like this model, so I'm going to try to hold it up nice and close there for you. I like the livery, I like the model. I'm a big, big fan of Great Western Railway locomotives, so I've put this into my top 10, the best of 2019. The next model I'm going to show you, it's from Bachmann, and funnily enough, this is the only Bachmann model which I've put into my personal top 10. And this is the 30XX, basically the Swindonized Robinson 8K, later the LNER O4s. Some of these were spread around after being commissioned by the Rail Operations Division. Essentially, at the end of the First World War, they had all these spare locomotives left over, put them up for sale, and some of them were bought up by other railway companies other than Great Central Railway LNER. So some went to the Great Western Railway, and actually they were long enough lasting that, as you can see here, lasted into the BR period, put in some sterling service for the Great Western Railway. But some also went to the London and North Western Railway, and I've seen no evidence of them reaching the LMS ownership, or at least getting to LMS ownership and being repainted into LMS livery. So not entirely sure how long those lasted. And I believe, was there a Southern Railway constituent also bought some as well and ran them into the ground? Certainly some were shipped abroad as well. There's a number ended up in Australia. But I just really like this model. I found, I just got a real soft spot for the Robinson 8K design, and it's become one of Bachmann's very much flagship models. They've released it in London and North Western Railway livery, Rail Operations Division livery, Great Western livery, LNER livery, Great Central Railway livery, and the BR liveries therein as well. So I really love it as a model. And it just really does surprise me that this year, that is the only Bachmann model that has gone into my top 10. Because in previous years, I've been something of a Bachmann fangirl. I can remember not that long ago, almost pouring scorn on the Hornby range. There was the odd item that I would buy, but I was very much a blue box girl, buying the Bachmann items. And I'll be honest, it's been very much a big switcheroo Hornby's got its act together, so much so that I now find that I buy very little Bachmann. It's quite strange. And there's an awful lot of Hornby. And you'll see in the top 10 locomotives of 29 just how much Hornby I have been acquiring over the last year. And it's because really great models are coming through. Now, the next one of my top 10 for 2019 is the Drummond 700 class. And quite simply, this was because at the time it was the greatest value for money for a really, really good locomotive. Its only downside for me was that it wasn't the easiest to DCC chip. Certainly fitting sound into it proved beyond my rudimentary means, which I thought was a little bit of a disappointment of design, but a standard 8-pin chip does fit in it pretty well. And I thought in terms of value for money, the Drummond 700 deserves very much to be on the top 10 best locomotives of 2019. Right, the next locomotive, everybody knows I've got a soft spot for A4 Pacifics. So on my top locomotives, the best locomotives, top 10 of 2019, it wouldn't be a complete and proper list without the Hornby A4, and this is the most up-to-date, all-singing, all-dancing version of the A4 that Hornby revamped a little bit, and this was quite simply that they took an already pretty much perfect model and they gave it the easy means to fit sound to it, and hats off to Hornby. They could have rested on their laurels and we probably wouldn't have thought any less of them for it, but this model, I was just really, really impressed with it. They upped their game when, quite frankly, nobody else was going to touch them on the A4. It pretty much is their model for keeps now. So I was very, very happy to put Miles Beaver into my personal top 10 locomotives of 2019. Now, 2019 could not be complete without the diminutive W4 Packet and Hornby. This just shows how switched on Hornby have been, that they re-released the W4 in the very popular and very quickly sold out Huntley and Palmer's livery, but as Locomotive C. And that says to me that Hornby were very much in touch with what the market wanted. And that is a good sign for any company to listen to their customers and give them what they want. And in this case, there's a lot of people trying to buy Locomotive D that was out last year, and it was massively oversubscribed. So Huntley and Palmer's had 2 of these W4 packets, so very cunningly, Hornby did the other one. And it was, again, incredibly well received. And that is one of the reasons why I think Hornby have really, really got their form, got their mojo back, because they are listening to what people want and they are providing the models that people want. So I'm very, very pleased to see this. The other locomotive as well, and this again was genius. I suppose after many years of saying, we keep telling people there's no demand for it. Industrial locos are plenty. And this is the B2 packet, which was a really good follow-up. And we got in there Hardy's Hobbies, sent over some 3D printed driver figures. So I was really pleased to be able to review those as well and put a driver figure in there. So it really is a great locomotive. The only drawback I found with it was when DCC fitting it, because I couldn't get the ready fitted one. So I bought this and a chip for the same price. The leads I found were a bit short in there, and I had to actually hardwire this. But it's a really beautiful locomotive, and the weight that are in these as well, they are amazingly well designed. So very happy to put that in. And as you can see, there's so many Hornby models in my personal top 10 greatest locos of 2019. It just shows how well Hornby have been doing. And you may be thinking, yeah, but you get sent review samples. Au contraire. Out of all of these locomotives, only one was a review sample. So, 10 locomotives, only one was sent to me as a review sample that, was I didn't have to pay for, I got to keep afterwards. Now, the next model, this was sent over as a review sample, but I had to buy it. And it's testament to how good this model is. It's the Class 122 from Dapol. That they sent over this sample. It's actually the Hatton Special Commission as Thunderbird 1, the Route Learner, the BR Route Learner, And they said, well, look, we'll give you a 10% discount. Basically, what we pay in postage to get it back to us, we'll take that off the price. So I effectively got like £7 taken off or something, because they didn't have to pay for the postage to get it back. But it was such a good model that when I was reviewing it, I thought, you know what, I'm going to buy it. And it really is a great model. Now, I did get round to, and one of the problems I found with it was, when chipping it, I couldn't get the internal lights to work inside the actual coach part itself. Now, I tracked this down to being a quirk of the Dapol Imperium 21-pin chip, works fine. So I had a locomotive, it's actually the Bachmann J11, that had a Dapol Imperium chip in. I've got a database that tells me what chip's in what locomotive. So I thought, well, it doesn't need all the functions, so I did a swap of the chips, and everything works just fine. So I don't know whether the Dapol Imperium chip is slightly non-standard, and so is the Dapol model, or whether it just has slightly more functionality than a lot of the other chips on the market, but that fixed that problem. But this, to me, was a really good model. I was very, very happy to put it into my top 10 locomotives of 2019. It is a superb model, and there's an awful lot of choice available at the moment, and certainly in the sales, and it's not just Hattons, I think Rails have got them in the sale as well, Kerno, Invicta, all of these places, shop around, you find, you know, your retailer of choice will have them at a really good price as well, most likely. It is a great model, an absolutely great model, so I've got no hesitation to actually recommend that. Now, this locomotive, I bought it at Alexandra Palace, and delivery is one. I really, really wanted to get this when Model Zone did a special commission of it, using the Bachmann base model in 00. Never got that, sold out. Only ever once seen it since, and it was a beaten up second-hand one that had been, it looked like somebody had played football with it, which was a great, great shame. But if I ever find a decent one at a decent price second-hand, then I am really, really keen on getting one of these in 00 as well. But I'm finding in O gauge, I'm going more and more towards NCB, and I'm not quite sure why. But I do have other locos. I think I've got 4 locos now. In fact, I was saying to Zoe earlier on, I've now got as many locomotives as I've got items of rolling stock in O gauge. Now, what I would really love to see from Dapol is the brake van that they do, the sort of like the XL and ER type brake van, the BR standard 20-ton one, in NCB colours. Now, it's been done by Bachmann in 00, and it would be lovely to see that in O gauge from Dapol. Or 6-ton mineral wagons, some of those as NCB internal users as well, would really go well with this, and also with Maud, which is the Sentinel that they've just brought out. There is going to be a box opening and review of that in the early new year, so that is still to come. But I was very, very happy to put this into my top 10. The O gauge models from Dapol are truly amazing. I've not seen any bad Dapol O gauge models. I really have to be honest on this, and it's what got me into O gauge. They made it affordable and they made it high quality. Now, the final model in my top 10. This is a TTS Sound fitted Duchess of Montrose in the BR green with the early logo, and this is exactly this is another example of why Hornby are so on the money at the moment. It's great to see from Hornby. This model is an exact duplicate of the Hornby W4 model, but in super duper detailed form. It's got sound in this particular example. It is a great locomotive, but this here is my childhood, or at least the Hornby W4 round model. But I think it was genius by Hornby to release this livery and this identity, because that really does get that retro nostalgia pumping. So for me, no qualms. I mean, it is an expensive loco. I think with the sound chip in it, I paid about £204. It's the most expensive 00 locomotive that I've ever bought, and when you think it's not even a special commission, that is truly amazing. And I'm sure you'll agree with me that there really are some great locomotives here. Today's video has been brought to you in part thanks to the generous donation of my fans on Patreon, and a huge thanks goes out to Anthony Kidson, Michael Churchwood, Alec Ralph, Anthony Hunt, William Wade, Wayne Johns, Offshore Alan, oorail.co.uk and Tepic. Today's video has been brought to you by my books, Bringing Home the Stars, Twinkle Little Star, and also you can get the complete comic collections of All Over the House, Books 1, Books 2, and also the wacky zany Life of Knob T Mouse. Thanks and catch you later.